And we're back for part 3. I got cut off. Again, spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen Passing, go watch it and then come back. Um, so I want to say that the film does a great job, kind of like in the book, of poor Claire's demise. Um, her husband Jack is gone for a good portion of the time because I think he's a traveling businessman or something, and she lives very well. But he leaves her to her own devices for a good portion of the time, which she indulges in because again, she's at liberty to reconnect with her friend and be around her own friends and lifestyle, and she feels very much at home in comfort. She can be herself. She can let go. She doesn't necessarily have to act a certain way, and doesn't have to also entertain her husband's racist, horrible commentary about people of color. So she's essentially free, and there were moments where she says, "I wish he'd stay gone." But again, being a person of color, you can't be saying those things, without it having consequences. Now, how he finds out just tells you how life can be ironic. He had already met Irene at the very beginning, under the impression that she's another white lady because she's passing. And, for heaven's sake, they're even criticizing people of color just to kind of pass the time. His favorite pastime. And by chance, she is now exiting the subway with a friend of hers who is not passing. She is very African American, featured, colored tone, and everything. And they're walking hand in hand. So you can tell that they're besties, they're best friends. And he spots her by chance because her face looked familiar. And he was like, "Irene, right?" And then she doesn't utter a word. And you can see this like semi shock in her face, like, "Oh my God, this man now recognizes me. He's going to put two and two together, and he's going to figure out that Claire has been lying to him this entire time." And they have a full fledged life, marriage, children, everything, a little child, a daughter. And she runs home. And then this is the sequences too that again you see snow, you see winter time in Harlem. I know I keep kind of going into tangents, but I just want to, again, I want to reiterate the beautiful way that this movie was shot. That is just, again, if you're a New Yorker, you have an appreciation for every shot and literally every sequence because it's home. And the way it's done so eloquently here. She rushes home, phones Claire to kind of warn her, and it is to no avail. She kind of disappears. Claire kind of goes off and does her own thing, perhaps. Who knows? She's kind of almost wishful thinking, Irene thinking like, well, maybe he never kind of pieced it together. But you do see the final sequence where I believe Jack is still off, supposedly off on some work related trip, and then she reconvenes with Irene and her husband, and there's already some issues there with jealousy. But it's another small gathering amongst friends in some beautiful apartment, and you can see that Jack has pieced it together. He rushes up, bum rushes through everybody, and realizes that she had been lying to him this entire time. She's around all these people of color, and he is just enraged. And there's an open window, and there are hints of it in the book from what I gather. And in the movie, again, you don't know necessarily what happens. There's an open window. We have Claire and Irene. It's basically trying to stay away from our villain here, which is Jack. He's getting in her face, trying to intimidate her. But in the essence of like maybe a minute and a half span, you don't know what happens. Did Jack push Claire? Did by accident Irene maybe nudge her? She was already feeling some kind of way. Nudged her out by accident. She got tripped and fell. Or did Claire just want to finally be liberated of all these this imprisonment that she kind of put herself in by being married to this man, and just jumped? So as she jumps and leaps, whatever the case may be, whoever pushed her, you see her body was laid out on the snow. Again, these sequences are gorgeous. Again, none of this is super happy. There are instances that the film is filled with somber, but nonetheless, beautifully shot. And then, of course, the authorities come and they don't necessarily press charges. How is that not relevant to today? You see how even things that you think are historical pieces, period pieces, still relates and resonates today. Jack doesn't get nearly any consequences, and they want to avoid as much as possible. So, the grouping tries to do their best to calm the authorities and whatnot. And it kind of stays that way. That's the end. Still, nonetheless, very interesting film. Everybody's passing for something, not just racially, but also romantically or social status wise. Very interesting film. And for Tessa Thompson, again, I've seen her in a number of other indie quirky films, and she always raises the bar when it comes to her roles. So it was a great film. I really recommend it. It's definitely a must watch, especially if you indulge in anything that has to do with New York City. A love letter to New York City, to Harlem, Renaissance period, and just to see beautiful BIPOC people on screen, affluent, educated, beautiful. I loved it. I fell in love with it, and I do recommend it. It is a definite must watch on Netflix right now. So trying a little more of my eggnog punch. But I'm looking forward to reviewing a number of other films that just made its debut on Hulu, for instance. Mother Android just dropped this Friday, this past Friday, and I have to get back to my And Just Like That, because their third episode just released. I have to get back to Narcos and Gentefied, and of course, y'all, do not hesitate to watch my Christmas specials that are soon to be videoed and put up for your public viewing. Today is, December 19th, but yes, with the days, I'm going to get creative like I did for Halloween, and again, let me know. Tell me, was my review helpful? Please drop me a comment in the comment section down below. Tell me what you like, what you didn't like. Constructive criticism is always welcome. But please stay tuned for my Christmas specials. And I also have a video that I'm gonna film soon after this of a unboxing of a board game, which coincides with my aesthetic and shtick. So please stay tuned. Let me know. Does the background look cute? I think it does. I think it looks light and bright for the season, the holiday season. But yes, please stay tuned for my impending reviews and hauls and DIYs. I think I'm kind of probably done with the DIYs because I've done plenty. So, but nonetheless, please stay tuned. And yes, until my next review, y'all, let's play this out. I love it. I love this. Ooh, my little faux fur. Mink stole. Fake fur. Faux fur. But still very posh. I'm loving it. So I'm brainstorming ideas too. What I might do for my special. But please stay tuned. I'm going to review all of my classic holiday movies. Maybe some that you've watched, some you haven't watched. But please stay tuned. And until next time. XOXO. Nerdy girl. Bye, y'all.